The 18th James Bond adventure raised the stakes higher than ever, featuring massive explosions, motorcycle jumps, military aircraft, sinking warships, and one of the franchise's most iconic car chases. While many viewers assume these sequences were created with computer effects, the truth is far more impressive. Behind the scenes, stunt performers risk real dangers, miniature artists build incredibly detailed models, and filmmakers use ingenious camera tricks to create some of the most memorable action scenes of the 1990s. So today, let's go behind the scenes and uncover how Tomorrow Never Dies brought its spectacular action to the big screen. One of the most thrilling moments in Tomorrow Never Dies comes when James Bond and Wei Lin escape from the villain's high-rise headquarters by tearing through a massive banner and sliding down the side of the building. On screen, the sequence looks incredibly dangerous, and in many ways it truly was. However, what audiences saw was actually a clever combination of real stunts, practical filming, and optical illusion. To film the sequence, the production team selected Bangkok's Sin Sathorn Tower, a towering 43-story skyscraper that proved the perfect location for the stunt. For the wide shots, professional stunt performers Mark Southworth and Wendy Lynch performed a genuine descent from the side of the building using specialized safety rigging. The scale of the stunt was very real, making it one of the most impressive practical moments in the film. For close-up shots involving Pierce Brosnan and Michelle Yeoh, however, the filmmakers used a completely different approach. At Fogmore Studios in England, a 5-story mock-up of the building exterior was constructed specifically for filming. Rather than having the actors actually slide down dozens of floors, they remained largely stationary, while a gigantic section of fabric was rapidly pulled upward behind them. When filmed from the correct angle, this simple trick created the convincing illusion that Bond and Wei Lin were racing down the side of a 43-story skyscraper. It's a perfect example of how practical filming often creates effects that appear far more complicated than they really are. Immediately after escaping the building, the film launches into one of the most famous action sequences in James Bond history. In the scene, Bond and Wei Lin are handcuffed together as they desperately evade enemy forces while riding a BMW motorcycle through the city. Many viewers assume the sequence relied heavily on CGI, but most of what appears on screen was achieved through practical stunt work and carefully engineered camera rigs. For many of the close-up shots, the motorcycle was mounted on a specifically designed moving platform or trailer. This allowed Pierce Brosnan and Michelle Yeoh to safely perform, while creating the illusion of high-speed travel. However, when the action required dangerous jumps, sharp turns, and collisions with structures, professional stunt riders took over. Even the collapsing balconies and shattered structures seen throughout the chase were practical effects. Special breakaway sets were built to safely disintegrate upon impact, creating realistic destruction without endangering performers. As if the motorcycle chase wasn't already impressive enough, the sequence soon delivers what many fans consider one of the most iconic stunts in the entire James Bond franchise. While escaping through the city, Bond and Wei Lin suddenly find their path blocked by a pursuing helicopter. With no obvious way out, Bond makes a split-second decision and launches the motorcycle straight over the aircraft. On screen, the moment looks so outrageous that most viewers assume it was created using CGI, but the reality behind the stunt was far more impressive. To pull off the sequence, the filmmakers first constructed specifically designed rooftop sets and carefully positioned hidden stunt ramps. Every element of the stunt had to be planned with extreme precision, especially the placement of the helicopter and the camera angles. The goal was to create the illusion that the motorcycle was flying directly over the helicopter's rotor blades, while still maintaining a safe distance during filming. The stunt itself was performed by legendary motorcycle stunt rider Jean-Pierre Gouy, who was already regarded as one of the best motorcycle stunt performers in the world. Interestingly, the production initially considered using cables and additional visual effects to achieve the jump. However, after extensive testing and preparation, Gouy convinced the filmmakers that the stunt could be performed for real. On the day of filming, the BMW motorcycle was accelerated to high speed before launching off a specially prepared ramp and soaring across a gap of more than 40 feet. Although the landing area was carefully designed, the stunt still required absolute precision. Even a slight miscalculation in speed or angle could have resulted in a dangerous landing. But the most jaw-dropping part of the chase was still yet to come. As the pursuit intensified, the attack helicopter followed Bond and Wei Lin into a crowded marketplace. On screen, it looks as if the helicopter is flying only a few feet above the ground, tearing through narrow streets while its spinning rotor blades slice through everything in its path. The scene feels incredibly dangerous and realistic, but filming it exactly as it appears would have been far too risky. Instead, the production team relied on a clever combination of practical effects and visual trickery. a full-size helicopter prop was constructed and mounted on a specifically designed hydraulic rig hidden beneath the set. The rig allowed the helicopter to move forward, lower itself, and tilt in different directions, creating the illusion of a real aircraft aggressively weaving through the streets. Even more surprisingly, the helicopter's spinning rotor blades weren't present during filming. For safety reasons, they were removed entirely and added later through visual effects. The market stalls, signs, and structures that appear to be shredded by the blaze were actually specially built breakaway props, carefully timed to collapse at the exact moment the helicopter passed by. Near the end of the sequence, Bond and Wei Lin find themselves trapped when the helicopter completely blocks their path. For a brief moment, it seems like there is no way out. Then Bond makes an impossible split-second decision. He leans the BMW motorcycle on its side and slides it directly beneath the helicopter. This breathtaking stunt was performed by legendary motorcycle stunt rider Jean-Pierre Goy, who controlled the bike in an extremely difficult lay-down position, keeping it balanced while skimming just inches above the ground. The BMW parking garage sequence is one of the most memorable gadget scenes in Bond history. Watching James Bond steer a luxury BMW entirely from his mobile phone felt futuristic in 1997, and even today the sequence remains incredibly entertaining. Behind the scenes, however, the filmmakers used a surprisingly clever practical solution. The sequence was filmed inside London's Brent Cross parking garage, which doubled as a location in Hamburg. To create the illusion of a driverless vehicle, several BMW 750iL sedans were specifically modified for filming. Rather than relying on computer effects, stunt driver Steve Griffin hid inside the vehicle, crouched low on the floorboard behind the front seats. Using a series of video monitors and custom controls, Griffin was able to steer and operate the vehicle while remaining invisible to the camera. Careful camera placement ensured that audiences never saw the hidden driver, making it appear as though Bond was controlling the car remotely from the back seat. The crashes, explosions, and gadget effects throughout the sequence were also achieved primarily through practical effects and pyrotechnics rather than digital manipulation. The film's opening naval attack sequence is one of its most impressive visual effects achievements. When the British warship HMS Devonshire is attacked and slowly sinks beneath the ocean, it appears as though an actual military vessel is being destroyed. In reality, the sequence was created through a remarkable blend of miniatures, practical effects, and innovative filmmaking techniques. The visual effects team first constructed highly detailed scale models of both HMS Devonshire and Elliot Carver's stealth ship. These miniatures were built with such extraordinary attention to detail that they appeared almost indistinguishable from full-size vessels when photographed correctly. The models were then filmed inside the enormous water tanks at Rosarito Studios in Mexico, one of the largest water facilities in Hollywood at the time. Coincidentally, many scenes from Titanic were also filmed there around the same period. To make the sinking ship appear realistic, the filmmakers relied on classic miniature effects technique. Instead of filming the models at normal speed, they used high-speed cameras to capture the action in slow motion. This caused the movement of the water and the ship to appear heavier and more natural, creating the illusion of a massive warship descending into the depths of the ocean. Additional miniature seabed environments were also constructed inside the water tanks, further enhancing the realism of the sequence. Tomorrow Never Dies wastes no time delivering excitement. The film opens with Bond infiltrating a secret terrorist weapons bazaar in an attempt to prevent a nuclear torpedo from falling into the wrong hands. The sequence feels so massive and realistic that it almost resembles footage from an actual military operation. To create this heavy-guarded military environment, the filmmakers filled the location with dozens of military vehicles, missile launchers, armored equipment, and hundreds of background performers. Every detail was carefully designed to convince audiences that Bond had entered an extremely dangerous enemy stronghold. The sequence becomes even more exciting when Bond steals a fighter jet and attempts to escape. The aircraft seen in the film was actually a Czech-built L-39 Albatross jet trainer. Through clever camera angles, military paint schemes, and careful editing, the production team transformed the trainer into what appeared to be a powerful combat aircraft. Nearly 30 years later, Tomorrow Never Dies still stands as a fantastic example of practical action filmmaking done right. Watching how these scenes were created makes you appreciate just how much effort, planning, and real stunt work went into every second of the movie. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more movie behind-the-scenes content, and comment below with your favorite James Bond film. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.